Hello students, welcome to Smart Solution. I am Nikhil and today we will start with Standard 9th Economics, chapter number 2, People as Resource. Okay, so let us try to understand what is a resource. So anything that we derive from environment and that has got some use to us is called as a resource. Okay, so you can take an example of water. Say for example we use water which is readily available in uh, environment. We use it for different functions like for drinking, domestic uses, agriculture, irrigation, industrial use. So this water has got different uses to us, so this water becomes a resource to us. In the same way, air which is available in atmosphere again is at a free of cost. Human being, rather all living world, requires oxygen for their survival. So this oxygen is readily and freely available, so this oxygen is also a resource. In this way there are n number of different resources that we use in our day to day life. Okay, so in this chapter we are focusing on people as a resource, how a human or how in general people can be transformed to a resource, to be a human capital, to be a more valuable than any other resource rather that we use. Okay, so let us start. The chapter People as Resource is an effort to explain population as an asset for the economy rather than liability. Population becomes human capital when there is investment made in form of education, training, medical care. In fact, human capital is the stock of skill and productive knowledge embodied in them. So what it says is, for any country, the population can either be an asset or can be an liability. Okay, so let us try to understand what is an asset. An asset is a thing which actually earns something for us, whereas a liability is something which actually uh, creates a debt on us, that is we have to pay for something. So say for example, uh, if you buy, if you invest in bank, you make some deposit, then bank will pay you interest for that, right? So it means your money is asset for you. Okay, but if you look it from the banker's point of view, the bank is taking your money and they are paying you some interest. What it means, they are keeping your money with them, but in return they have to pay some interest to you. So the same money for bank is now liability. Okay, so in general the population can also be an asset or can be a liability, but the important thing is how an government tries to change this population from liability to asset. Okay, so this can be done by educating the people, by giving them proper training, and even by providing them best medical facilities. So for example, if we educate a person, he will gain knowledge, he will gain skills, he can raise to highest level of career, and in that way he can grow himself and he can also help society in development. But only education is not the criteria. In addition to education, he has to be physically fit. So for that, medical facilities as and when required are also important, right? Say for example, if you consider a case where a highly educated person is available but he is with some medical issues, so what will happen, he will not be able to share his knowledge, he will not be able to contribute to the growth of society 100%, right? But if there is a person who is physically fit but he don't have any skills, so in that case also the person may be of no worth or no use. So it is actually a balance between the education and medical facilities which make a person a resource. Okay, so in fact human capital is a stock of skills and productive knowledge embodied in them. People as a resource is a way of referring to the country's working people in terms of their existing productive skills and ability. So when we say people as a resource, so it means that there is a country in which certain people has got certain range of skills with which they can work. So that is the meaning of people as a resource. So looking at the population from this productive aspect emphasizes its ability to contribute to the creation of the gross national product. So whenever the population of a particular country are educated, they have skills, it means they have transferred their people into a resource. So what will happen, these resources will further contribute towards uh, good production, increased services, which will further result into increased gross national product. That means their economy will grow. Like other resources, population also is a resource, a human resource. So as like we discussed very earlier, that there are different resources which we derive from environment: air, water, land, forest, natural vegetation, flesh, fish, etc. So these are all the resources, and apart from them, human being is also a resource. This is the positive side of a large population that is often overlooked when we look only at the negative side. So one of the important factor to consider here is the country that has got highest population or more population is said to have some advantages as compared to the country which do not have much population, because this population can always be trained, and they can be given good amount of skills so that they can work and they can contribute towards the economic development of the country. But in countries where the population is very less, it is difficult to migrate people from the countries, other countries rather, and then to train them, and then they would contribute to the economy. So a country should look towards population as an asset rather than a liability, and always try to improve their education and skills. So we look only at the negative sides, considering only the problems of providing population with food, education, and access to health facilities. When the existing human resource is further developed by becoming more educated and healthy, we call it human capital formation. So rather only looking at the population as liability who needs shelter and food and clothing, we must train them. We must train them in such a way that they acquire best skills, and now these humans can rather, instead of only calling a liability, they could be converted into an asset, and they, because of their knowledge and skill, can form a human capital, that is physical capital. Okay. So what will happen when this human is converted from a normal person to a human capital? He will further enhance or further help other resources to reach the same level as he has reached, and he can make better utilization of the resources than any other human. So that is the importance of human capital. So investment in human capital through education, training, medical yields a return just like investment in physical capital. So as we see that many business people, they put their money in any of the businesses. So why they put? Because they want good amount of returns. But that is also uh, the same thing applies to human resource as well. If you educate or if you invest in human resource, the returns on the human resource are multifolds. That is, you get a very good output when invested in human resource. So investing in human resource is also very important. This can be seen directly in the form of higher income earned because of higher productivity of the more educated or the better trained person, as well as the higher productivity of healthier people. So the emphasis can be given on, say for example, if a person is highly educated, he can earn higher salaries. Even because of higher earned salaries, he can improve the condition of his family, also help others to reach the same levels, and in this way he will increase the productivity and healthiness of the family, right? So now, not only do more educated and healthier people gain through higher income, society also gains in other indirect ways, because the advantages of more educated or healthier population spreads to those who themselves were not directly educated or given health care. Say for example, if a person gets education or gets skill and he becomes a doctor, so what will happen? This person who was initially a normal person has now changed to human capital, has become a doctor. So what he will do, he will treat all the people in the society, whoever comes to him. In this way he will be earning money for himself, but rather he will also be providing service to the person who is in need of, the one who is illiterate, one who does not know anything. He will also go to the doctor and get treated. So in this way, an educated person, he is helpful to himself as well as he is helpful to the society as well. So this is how human resource is playing a dual role. So we can say that human capital is in one way superior to other resources like land and physical capital, because human resource can make use of land and capital. Land and capital cannot become useful on their own. So in the similar way, if you see any other resources other than human capital, they cannot make use of themselves, but human capital can make use of other resources as and when required with more efficiency. So human capital is the topmost capital, or human resource is the most important resource. For many decades in India, a large population has been considered a liability rather than an asset. But a large population need not be burden for the economy. It can be turned into productive assets by investment in human capital. For example, by spending resources on education and health for all, training of industrial and agricultural workers in the use of modern technology, useful scientific research, and so on. So, in India, what has happened? The huge population of India was always considered as liability by the government, but nowadays the scenario is changing. Government is looking towards this population as an asset, and now uh, education is being given to the people, to the different classes. The skills are being improved through various governmental schemes like skill improvement programs and so on. So why this is done? This is done because when people acquire skill, they can get good jobs, they can contribute to the gross domestic product or gross national product, thus by contributing towards the economy of the country. So different skills can be given to people, say for example in the field of education, health, training, industrial skills, and agricultural skills can be given to the farmers. They could be taught of using modern technologies. So these are the different ways in which government can help people in increasing their knowledge and skills. So we have a story over here of two friends living in some village. So let us try to look at that. So there were two friends, Vilas and Sakal, living in the same village, Simapur. Sakal was 12 years old boy. His mother Sheila looked after domestic chores. His father Bhuta Chaudhary worked in an agricultural field. So boy whose name is Sakal is only 12 years, the same age as yours rather, younger than you. So his mother Sheila, she used to do household works, and his father Bhuta, he used to work in an agricultural field. So Sakal used to help his mother in domestic chores. He also looked after his younger brother Jitu and sister Situ. So Sakal had a brother and a sister. Brother was Jitu and his sister name was Situ. So he also helped his mother in household activities, and after that he used to look after his siblings. His uncle Sham had passed the matriculation exam, but he was sitting idle in the house as he had no job. His uncle was also educated and he has passed the matriculation exam, that is standard 10th, very early in 1990s or something like that, but he was sitting idle because he did not get any job. Buta and Sheila were eager to teach Sakal, but his parents, Sakal's parents, they were eager that their children, their child should be well educated, so they forced him to go to school. So they forced him to join the village school, which he soon joined. He started studying and completing his higher secondary examination. So he started studying, he cleared his higher secondary examination. His father persuaded him to continue his studies. His father always wanted that his child continue his studies. So he raised a loan for Sakal to study a vocational course in computers. So what his father did was, his father took a loan because of their poor family economy. He had to go for a loan. His father took a loan and he allowed his son, that is Sakal, to take a course in computer. So Sakal also was a meritorious student, and as he was also interested in studies from the beginning, with a great vigor and enthusiasm, he completed his course. After some time, he got a job in a private firm. He even designed a new kind of software. This software helped him increase the sale of the firm. His book acknowledged his service and reward his sorry boss acknowledged his service and rewarded him with a promotion. So what happened? After taking a computer course, he got a job in a private firm. So in that private firm, he worked for a good stretch. He developed some software. Because of this software, The company got really good advantage, earned good amount of money. His boss was very happy with his work, and so his boss gave him a promotion. So this was the story of a Sakal. So what happens next is, he also had a friend. Sakal had a friend called Vilas. They were living in the same village. This boy was 11 years old, residing in the same village as of Sakal. Vilas' father's Mahesh was a fisherman. So if you see the condition of both these families, they come from a middle class or poor background. So Vilas' father was a fisherman. His father passed away when he was only 2 years old. But Vilas' father passed away when Vilas was only 2 years old. So the complete responsibility of bringing up of the child was shouldered by his mother Geeta. So Geeta used to sell fish to earn money to feed the family. So the occupation of Geeta was to sell fish to earn for the family. She bought fish from the landowners' ponds and sold in the nearby mandi. She could earn only rupees 150 a day by selling fish. So she used to buy fish from the landowners or the landowners of the pond and sell it in the nearby market. So she used to only get 150 rupees by selling fish. Vilas became a patient of arthritis. So by the days, Vilas became a patient of arthritis. His mother could not afford to take him to the doctor. He could not go to the school either. So because of their poor condition, his mother was not able to take him to the doctor for treatment. Neither because of his good health, neither because of his good health. So he was always in a bad health rather. Because of his bad health, he could not attend the school also. He was not interested in and studies. So added to that, he was also not interested in studies. So he used to help his mother in cooking and also looked after his younger brother Mohan. So what this Vilas used to do, he never went to school because he did not like studying. So he used to help his mother in household activities and also spend his time looking after his younger brother Mohan. After some time, his mother fell sick and there was no one to look after her. There was no one in the family to support them. So some days passed and incidentally, his mother also fell sick. So now the situation was like no one was available for his mother to take her to hospital to take care of her, to look after their family, to look after their young brother. Okay, so the complete responsibility was now taken up by Vilas. There was no one in the family to support them, so Vilas too was forced to sell fish in the same village. He liked his mother's he, like his mother, earned only a meager income. But now, since his mother could not go in the market, Vilas has to go because if they don't earn, there would have been no food for them to eat. So Vilas used to go to market and earn the same amount of monies as his mother earned, and that was a very little amount of money. Okay, so after studying these two stories, what do we understand, or what is the conclusion of these stories? So if you see, both the friends Sakal and Vilas, they belong to poor families, first thing, but the major difference lied in their attitude. Sakal always liked studies, whereas Vilas did not like studies. Sakal was a meritorious student. Vilas rarely went to school, so there was no question of merit. Sakal's parents, they always believed in education. They wanted their child to get better education, whereas Vilas' parents would have hoped that their child could study, but the child himself was not interested in getting education. Sakal got admission in the school where he performed good. He got his secondary exams cleared. Then his father took a loan. Um then he gave him a computer course which he certified and got job in a good firm. Whereas Vilas was only busy with his daily activities, helping his mother, taking care of his young brother, sometimes sitting in the market selling the fish, doing nothing about the future. As the time passed, Sakal got a job, he got promotion, he developed a software, and his boss, seeing his efforts, promoted him. And in this way, Sakal became a successful person. Whereas Vilas, because of very rare education, could not end up taking a job. He had to sell fish like his mother. and so Vilas remained a poor guy. Okay, so what it means is that investment in education can give very high returns. This is the first conclusion. Second, the parents, those who are educated, will always think that their child should get better education. They will invest in children's education because they know that the fruits of education are much more or much larger as compared to any other returns. And as they get good education, they go into a cycle of improvement, right? The highly educated families, good educated families, they will have good health, good nutritious food, and good life, whereas poor families like Vilas, they will not have good education, they don't have good earnings, they don't have good medical facilities, and they rarely can bear any other expenses, right? So these are the major conclusions from these stories. So in the two cases studies, we saw Sakal went to school and Vilas did not go. Sakal was physically strong and healthy. There was no need for him to visit to doctor frequently because Sakal's health was always good. Vilas was a patient of arthritis. He lacked the means to visit the doctor. Sakal acquired a degree in computer programming. Sakal found a job in private firm while Vilas continued his work as his mother. He earned a meager income like his mother to support a family. In case of Sakal, several years of education added to the quality of labor. This enhanced his total productivity. Total productivity adds to the growth of economy. This in turn paid plays an individual through salaries or in some other form of his choice. In case of Vilas, there could not be any education or health care in the early part of his life. He spends his life selling fish like his mother. Henceforth, he draws the same salary of unskilled labor as his mother. So this we have already seen that due to the attitude of these two person and due to the conditions of these two friends, how their life changed. So investment in human resource via education can give higher rate of return in future. So what is important is that education, investment in education is a paramount important because it can give you higher returns. This investment on people is the same as investment in land and capital. So this investment should be looked as same as we make investments in land and capital. So a child too with investment made on her education and health can yield a high return in the future in the form of higher earnings and greater contribution to the society. Educated parents are found to invest more heavily on education of their children. This is because they have realized the importance of education for themselves. So this we have already seen that educated people prefer their child to get educated and they invest heavily on their education. They are also conscious of proper nutrition and hygiene. They accordingly look after their child's need for education at school and good health. A virtuous cycle is thus created in this case. So whenever there is an educated family, they think of their child to have better future, invest heavily in the education, give them better nutrition and hygiene, and in this way a positive cycle is created which is known as virtuous cycle. Whereas the family where there is no education, they don't have importance of education, they do not invest in the education of their children, they cannot provide their children with proper nutrition and hygiene, and hence they suffer a lot. This type of cycle is created in a society with a negative impact overall on the health and economy, and such cycle is known as vicious cycle. So it is important for everyone to understand that virtuous cycle is good. One should always be in the virtuous cycle, and those who are in the vicious cycle should try to break out this cycle and shift to a virtuous cycle. So countries like Japan have invested in human resource. They did not have any natural resource. These countries are developed or rich. If you see at the country like Japan, you see that the Japan is an island country. There are small islands. They don't have much of the natural resources yet. They have trained their human resources to such a high extent that this country is now a developed country. If you see the Indian scenario, in India we are still a developing country. We are not yet developed country. Yeah, they import the natural resources needed in their country. How did they become rich or developed? They have invested on people, especially in the field of education and health. These people have made efficient use of other resources like land and capital. Efficiency and technology evolved by people have made the country rich or developed. So, um, since these Japanese people they did not have natural resources available, they invested heavily on the education of their people. Their people became so excellent at skills that they when they used to buy resources from other countries, they used to use them so efficiently that their productivity was superior and very high quality as compared to rest of the world. So in this fashion, by increasing their skills and making economic and efficient use of resources, they could develop themselves, and now they are a developed nation. So in case of India, we should also take the similar steps. We have got very great diversified natural resources. It's a rare country in which all type of resources we find all type of weathers rather, and we have got a great number of population. So if the population is properly trained, the skills are given, we also will one day become a developed nation. So now let us look at the economic activities by men and women. So like Vilas and Sakal, people have been engaged in various activities. We saw that Vilas sold fish and Sakal got a job in firm. The various activities that has been classified into three main sectors, that is primary, secondary and tertiary sector. So if you see or if you try to classify the activities according to the economics, so there are basically three main categories: primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary is related to the natural resources, say for example mining, agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, all these activities which are related to the extraction of resources from nature, they are known as primary activities. Secondary activities involves manufacturing or modifications or processing of these primary activities to make some product. Say for example, we have a farmer who is producing, say for example, sugarcane. So sugarcane growing or agriculture of sugarcane is the primary activity, whereas making sugar from the sugarcane is a secondary activity. And now when the sugar is made, the sugar need to be transferred to the market and sold out. So this marketing and selling of sugar, it is done in tertiary activity, which is basically known as a service industry. So if you see any product we make or we consume, it undergoes all these three stages. That is, primarily it is obtained, some raw material is obtained from nature, it is modified into some product by a secondary manufacturer or secondary industries basically, and then these products are sold in the market to the customer using a tertiary industry or tertiary service, right? So in any of the economy, one major point I would like to highlight, that when the economy is very premature, primary activities contribute majorly. The heavy percentage is contributed by the primary activity, secondary activity contributes on the second level, and tertiary activities contribute very rarely in a prematured economy. But as the economy becomes stronger and stronger, so from the underdeveloped to the developed and developing, underdeveloped to developing and developed. So if you see the case of developed countries, there the primary activities contribute very less to the GDP. Secondary activities contribute almost less, you can say, or equal to the primary activities, but the tertiary activities altogether they contribute to almost 60, 70, 80% of the GDP. So this is the difference in developing and developed countries. We are primarily concerned about improving our primary, secondary, and nowadays the boom is also in the tertiary activities. So these are the basically three activities that take place in economy. So primary sectors include agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, fishing, poultry, farming, mining and quarrying. Manufacturing is included in the secondary sector. Trade, transport, communication, banking, education, health, tourism, service, insurance, etc. All these activities are included in tertiary sector. The activities in this sector result in production of goods and services. These activities add value to the national income. So by all these activities, what we are doing is we are adding some value to the national income, that is GDP. These activities are called as economic activities. Okay, so all these activities that add something to the economics or economic value, they are known as economic activities. Economic activities have two parts: some are market activities and some are non-market activities. Okay, so economic activities are divided further into two parts. First is the market activities and second is non-market activities. So market activities involve remuneration to anyone who performs them, that is activities performed for pay or profit. So marketing activities are those that are performed for making either profits. These include production of goods or services, including government services. So basically, the market activities, they include making any products or goods or services, which includes government services as well. But non-marketing activities are production for self-consumption. Say for example, if there is a farmer who produces only for his family, in that case his activity will be counted as non-market activity. Whereas in case of a farmer who has got a huge plot of land, he can produce so much that after spending for his own consumption, he can even sell some part of the grains in the market. So he will be actually contributing to some market activity in that case. So this can be consumption and processing of primary products and own account production of fixed assets. So these are the basically classification and examples of primary and secondary activity. So we have an activity here. Okay, so let us read out. Uh, Visit a village or colony located near to your residential area and note down the various activities undertaken by people of that area. So you have to do a survey of your neighborhood, try to understand in which activities different people are involved. If there is no, if this is not possible, ask your neighbor about what is their profession, in which of three sectors will you categorize their work. So what you have to do is, if you cannot go to any of the village, you can go to your neighborhood and try to understand in which activities your neighborhood are engaged in, and try to classify these activity into the three categories that we have seen earlier, that is primary, secondary and tertiary. Say whether these activities are economic and non-economic activities. Also further, you can classify these activities into two major categories, that is economic activity and non-economic activity. Vilas sells fish in the village market. Vilas cooks food for his family. Sakal works in private firm. Sakal looks after his young brother and sister. So what you can do is, here are the four examples given. So you can also try to classify these activities into economic and non-economic activities, also in primary, secondary and tertiary activities. Okay, so I am leaving this question to you. Possibly, if possible, I'll also discuss this question at the end of the chapter. Yeah. So, due to the historical and cultural reasons, there is a division of labor between men and women in family. Um so we have seen that in Indian scenario, there that the labor is divided into men and women categories. Women generally look after domestic chores and men work in the field. Sakal's mother Sheila cooks food, cleans utensils, washes clothes, cleans the house and looks after her children. Sakal's father Buta cultivates the field, sells the products in produce in the market and earns money for his family. So as is the case of Sakal, his mother does household works where his father is engaged in earning for the family. He does some work in the farm. Also, he used to sell the products in the market and get money for his family. So, if you see the Indian context in India, this is the general case which is prevailing, that the woman of the house, she basically looks at the family, take care of the children, nurtures them, grows them, take care of their education, whereas the father is responsible for not upbringing rather, making arrangements for their family to survive, to earn for their family, to take care of their family, to protect their family from any of the outer forces, right? So this is the general Indian scenario. But in some countries, it may happen that ladies along with the gents are also working, shouldering the responsibilities equally. Sheila is not paid for the services delivered for upbringing of the family, but Buta earns money which he spends in rearing his family. Women are not paid for their services delivered in the family. The household work does not the household work done by woman is not recognized in national income. So see what happens is, woman who is involved in her day-to-day activities at house, she is not paid. Since this she is not paid for the activities or services that she offer to her family, her efforts are not counted in the national income, right? But the person who goes out of his house and earned some or get some salaries, his income is actually counted in national income. So, do you think that this way of counting on national income is the correct way? Or should the efforts of women that they spend in bringing up their family, taking care of their family, taking care of their loved ones, should be compensated with some efforts, considering their efforts in the national income, right? So give your thoughts on this. So Geeta, mother of Vilas, earned an income by selling fish. Thus, women are paid for their work when they enter the labor market. Their earning, like that of their male counterpart, is determined on the basis of education and skill. So, if you look at the Geeta, who is the mother of Vilas, who used to sell fish in the market, so she used to get some money for this, because when a woman steps out from the house and gets some job or get some work done, in that case she is paid, but for the household activity she is not paid. So unlike men, the woman can also earn high wages because of her skills and education. So education helps individual to make better use of economic opportunities available before them. Education and skill are the major determinants of the earning of any individual in the market. So it is the education and skills that will determine uh, how much a person can earn, or what is the level of earning that a person can achieve. The majority of women have mere meager education and low skill formations. So in Indian context, women, they do not take more education. They limit their education to matrix or say 12th, and after that they get married and get busy with their families. So women are paid low wages compared to men, also because of the physical strength. uh, for the same work, women are paid less as compared to men. Most women work where job security is not there. Various activities related to legal protection is meager, and also women find job, they settle into a job which is not secure, basically, which is low paying, not secure, and there is less protection for them. Employment in this sector is characterized by irregular and low income. So women are basically working irregularly because of the market scenarios, basically you can say, and also because of these market scenarios they are paid low income. So in this sector there is an absence of basic facilities like maternity leaves, child care, and other social security systems. So because of all these prevailing activities, this sector does not provide better treatment to women, like women need maternity leaves, so they are not given any maternity leaves. Neither when they have a child, they are given child care centers and other security systems. So if a system can provide women with a good maternity leave, good child care, and social security, so women also will start entering into a market and get job paid equally, or rather more than the male candidates, right? But nowadays the situation is changing. The market or the companies or the industries, they do provide maternity leaves, child care, and some security to women to enhance their engagement into the development. So however, women with high education and skill formation are paid at par with the men among the organized sector. Teaching and medicine attracts them the most. So skilled women, yes, they get payment equal to that of men, and they also hold recognized positions. Some of the great women have entered into the sectors like teaching, medicine, and others. Some women have entered administrative and other services, including job that needs high level of scientific and technological competence. So on, also on the scientific and technological fronts, woman is no more behind. So ask your sister or your classmate what she would like to take up as a career. So you can always go home and ask your siblings, sisters, like what would they choose as their career in the future. Okay. So this was about the men and women and their contribution to the economic activities. So we have now to look at the quality of population. So just give me a minute. Yeah. So I think we can continue with this quality of population. So the quality of population depends upon the literacy rate, health of the person, indicated by life expectancy, and skill formation acquired by people of the country. So the quality of population means out of the total population, how the population is categorized into different categories like health, literacy rate, life expectancy, and their skills. So the quality of population ultimately decides the growth rate of the country. Literate and healthy population are an asset. So after studying the quality of the population, we will come to know whether a country will progress positively or negatively. If the people of the country are well educated, they have good health, it is an indicator that country will progress in the upcoming days. Whereas if the health of population is very bad, they have no education, there is highly values, there are no values in the society, so it determines that the society is moving towards a end, right? And the country as a whole cannot flourish. So let us try to understand the importance of education. So Sakal's education in the initial years of his life bore him the fruits in the later years in terms of his good job and salary. So as we recall, Sakal got good education and landed up with a very good job, and also then he received a good salary. So he saw education as an important input for the growth of Sakal. So we saw education as an important input for growth of Sakal. It opened new horizons for him, provided new aspirations and developed values of life. So with this education his life completely changed. He got some positive impacts in his life, he got new aspirations, and there are some values which now has been inculcated into the Sakal because of this education. So not only for Sakal, education contributed towards the growth of society also. So not only Sakal but society is also benefited because of his education. It enhances the national income, cultural richness, and increases the efficiency of governance. So because of his education, he contributes to the national income. It has increased cultural richness, and he has also increased the efficiency of governance. There is a provision made for providing universal access, retention, and quality in elementary education with a special emphasis on girls. So government is taking some reforms in this field. There is also an establishment of space setting of schools like Navodaya Vidyalaya in each district. Also government has taken initiatives to set up Navodaya Vidyalaya in each district. So vocational streams has been developed to equip large number of high school studies with occupations related to knowledge and skills. So government has also taken up steps to establish vocational streams where education is given so that the skills of a person is improved and he can land up with some job. The plan outlay on education has increased from rupees 151 crore in the first plan to rupees 99,300 crores in 2021. So if you see at the 5 years plan, this 5 years plan basically it started with India being independent. In the first 5 year plan, only rupees 151 crores were allocated for the educational stream, but now in 2021, as you recall, almost 99,300 crores, so approximately 1 lakh crore rupees is being given to the educational department for improving education, knowledge, and skills. The expenditure on education as a percentage of GDP rose from 0.64% in 1951-52 to approximately 3% in 2019 and 20. So if you again see approximately 0.64 means you can say half percent of the GDP was only the allocation to education in first 5 year plan, in that is in 1950-52. But now if you see the case of 2019 and 20, the percentage share is approximately 3.1% of the GDP. So there is a huge change, and the government is also of the view that education is an important parameter for the nation to grow and prosper. So and has remained stagnant around 3% from past few years. So if you see that this 3% has remained almost stagnant from past few years. The budgetary estimate, as stated in the budget document of Union State Government, Reserve Bank of India, the expenditure on the education as a percentage of GDP has declined to 2.8% in 2021. So there is a few points decline in this expenditure. So it has come down to 2.8 in 2021. The literacy rate has increased from 18% in 1951 to 85%. So if you see the literacy rate, initially it was 18% in 1951, so now it has increased from 18% to 85% in 2018. So there is an improvement in the literacy. So literacy is not only a right, it is also need if the citizens are to perform their duties and enjoy their rights properly. So why do you think that literacy is important? Say for example, if a person is illiterate, he will never know his rights and he will never enjoy his basically rights, you can say. Yeah. So education or literacy is required so that people are aware of their rights and duties, and so that no one can take their rights away from them. So a vast difference is noticed across different sections of the population. Literacy among male is nearly 16.1% higher than females and is about 14.2% higher in urban areas as compared to rural areas. So if you again divide this literacy into two categories, say for example males and females. So you can see that males are literate, more literate than females by 16%. And also if you divide this literacy in society like village and urban, or rural and urban areas, then you will find that in urban areas literacy is more as compared to rural areas by 14.2%. So as per the 2011 census, literacy rates varied from 94% in Kerala to 62% in Bihar. So if you see, Kerala has got the highest literacy rate, which is 94%, and Bihar is at only 62%. Okay. So the primary school system is from 1st to 5th, has expanded to over 7,78,842 lakh in 2019-20. So the primary school has expanded to these numbers. Unfortunately, this huge expansion of schools has been diluted by the poor quality of schooling and higher dropout rates. But this number of schools has increased, but the quality of education and dropouts is very bad. Quality education is not provided, and the students, those who are leaving schools, that is dropouts, that is also increasing. So what government has done, government has brought up some schemes like Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan in a significant step, which is a significant step towards providing elementary education to all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years by 2010. It is a time bound initiative of the central government. So central government started a scheme called as Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, in which students from the age group of 6 to 14 were given elementary education free of cost. So state so this was initiated by the central government in participation with the state and local governments and the community for achieving the goal of universalization of elementary education. So the basic goal was that everyone should get education, that is universalization of elementary education. Okay, so along with it, bridge courses and back to school camp has been initiated in increasing the enrollment in elementary school. So these are the different activities again taken up by the government to increase the count in the school. Midday meal scheme has been implemented to encourage attendance and retention of children and improve their nutritional status. Apart from only providing education, the schools, the government also started a scheme of midday meal, so that student can come to school, they can have some food in the lunch, and by the way of this lunch they will improve their health by adding some nutritional value. So these were the schemes that a government has started. These policies could add to the literate population of the India, and the basic aim for these policies was that because of these policies more number of students will come to school and they will get educated, and in this way literacy rate of the country will increase, which will further result in increasing the human skills or human resource, bringing the human to a level that he can find a job and further contribute to the economic development. So the gross enrollment ratio, which is also called as GER, in higher education in age group of 18 to 23 years is 27% in 2019 and 20, which would be broadly in line with world average. The strategy focuses on increasing access, quality, adoption of state specific curriculum modification, vocationalization and networking on the use of information technology. There is also focus on distant education, convergence of formal, non-formal, distance and IT educational institutes. So these are the different steps that government is taking towards. Okay, so let me go to the previous page to see. Yeah, so we over here have a graph of Census of India. We have not discussed this, so let us try to discuss. So see, this is the Census of India office in Registrar General India 2021, taken in 2021. So this is the literacy rate over here in percentage, 10%, 20%, starting from 0 to maximum 90%. And these are the years over here, you can see starting from 1951, 61. So a data is given according to decades, so 10-year spans, that is called as decade, starting with 1951 to 2080, right? So the blue color over here, it indicates the number of people. Of that, this brownish, reddish brownish color over here indicates the number of males and the percentage of males rather, and female is indicated by green color. Okay, so starting with 1951, if you see the blue color, approximately the overall literacy rate was around 19%, of which male contributed approximately 26-27% or even 28%, and women were only 9%, right? So there was a huge difference between the literacy of male and female, you can see from here. As we move to 1961, overall literacy rate increased, men also increased, but there is still a good amount of gap between the literacy rate of male and female candidates. Again 1971, same situation, increasing, all three things are increasing. 1981, all three things are increasing, good. In 1991, all three things are increasing, good. So now, but still there is a wide gap. 2001 also indicates a wide gap, but if you now see the 2011 census, so it indicates that the overall education is 80%, or the overall literacy is at 80%, of which men is of which, sorry, not overall, is approximately 72%. So of which the total population, the total male who are literate are 80%, and women, those who are literate, has also increased to approximately 63 to 65 percentage. But if you see now here, the gap between the literacy of male and female candidates, it has started reducing. So what it means is that more number of women are now being literate, right? If you again consider 2018 scenario, you see the gap is further reducing. 2080 also indicates the same gap, rather it looks a bit more. But as we move, as we progress, a day will come when men and women will stand at a same percentage of literacy, right? And we are dreaming to a day when the total population of the country is literate. So that is the plan of government. Yeah. So let us now move to the next section. So you can see over here a chart is given which indicates the number of institutions of higher education, number of institutions of higher education, the number of enrollments, and the number of faculties. Okay. So this again chart gives a guideline from 1950 to 2019 and 20. Okay. So in 1950 and 51, we can say that the number of colleges were 750, total number of universities were 30, total students were only 2,63,000, and total teachers in these schools and colleges, they were only 24,000. As we move forward in 1990 and 1991, the number of colleges approximately increased by tenfold in 50 years. Okay, in 90, you can say in 40 years. So almost 10 times college increased, number of university increased approximately to 177, almost 6 times. Number of students from 2 lakhs increased to 50 lakhs approximately, and number of faculties from 24,000 increased to almost 2 lakh 72,000. So there is a huge growth in this. So again 98, 99, you can go through all this data. I'll just look at the 2019 and 20 data now. So in 19 and 20, the number of colleges were 44,374. The number of universities were 1,236. The number of students enrolled were approximately 38 crore 27 lakh, no, 3 crores 82 lakh 75,207. Yeah, 3 crore 82 lakh 75,207 students, and teachers in the universities were 12 lakh 7,204, right? A huge growth in this field. So there is, over the past 60 years, there has been a significant growth in the number of universities and institutions of higher learning in specialized areas. Let us read the table to see the increase in the number of colleges, universities, enrollments of the students, and recruitment of teachers from 1951 to 2019 and 20. So this activity we have already done. Okay. So I think we can stop here for the day with the concept discussed, and please do visit our site on regular basis. Try to read the text. If you have any doubts, please write us in the comments. We will be happy to reply to the comments and solve your queries. Further, if you have not subscribed our channel yet, please subscribe, and in the next lecture of the same chapter, we will look at the health and the other remaining topics. So till then, thank you, have a good day. Thank you.